John Locke, a name whispered in the halls of history, a name synonymous with revolution, liberty, and the fundamental rights we often take for granted. His legacy is not just a chapter in the annals of philosophy, but a cornerstone of the modern world. Born in a time of tumultuous change, Locke's ideas ripped through the old world, challenging the very fabric of power and authority. The 17th century was a period marked by political upheaval, religious conflict, and the struggle for power. Amidst this chaos, Locke's voice emerged as a beacon of reason and hope. He dared to imagine a world where governments derived their just powers from the consent of the governed, not from divine right or sheer force. This was a radical departure from the prevailing notions of his time, where monarchs ruled with absolute power, often justified by the divine right of kings. Locke wasn't just a philosopher. He was an architect of modern thought, a champion of reason and individual liberty. His writings laid the groundwork for the Enlightenment, influencing countless thinkers and revolutionaries who followed in his footsteps. His ideas, once considered radical and dangerous, now form the bedrock of democratic societies around the world. The principles of life, liberty, and property that Locke so passionately advocated have become the foundation upon which modern democracies are built. His words echo through the centuries, reminding us that the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness is not a gift from benevolent rulers, but an inherent right endowed by nature itself. Locke's philosophy emphasized the importance of individual rights and the social contract, ideas that continue to resonate in contemporary political discourse. To understand Locke is to understand the very essence of modern democracy, to grasp the fundamental principles that underpin our freedoms. His influence extends beyond political theory, touching upon education, economics, and human rights. It is to embark on a journey through the evolution of human thought, a journey that leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world we inhabit. Locke's contributions to epistemology and the theory of knowledge have shaped the way we perceive and interact with the world. So let us delve into the life and times of John Locke, exploring the experiences that shaped his revolutionary ideas and the enduring impact his work has had on the course of human history. From his early years in a turbulent England to his later works that influenced the American and French revolutions, Locke's legacy is a testament to the power of ideas to change the world. John Locke entered this world on August 29, 1632, in the small village of Rington, England. His birth coincided with a period of great upheaval and uncertainty. England was on the brink of civil war, a conflict that would pit Parliament against the monarchy in a bloody struggle for power. Locke's father, also named John Locke, was a Puritan lawyer and a staunch supporter of Parliament. He fought on the side of parliamentarians during the English Civil War, instilling in young John a deep-seated belief in individual liberty and limited government. Growing up in the shadow of war left an indelible mark on Locke. He witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of political instability and the abuse of power. These early experiences would later shape his political philosophy and his unwavering commitment to individual rights. Despite the turmoil of the times, Locke received a good education. His father, recognizing his son's intelligence, ensured that he received a solid grounding in classical languages and literature. This early exposure to the great thinkers of the past, particularly the writings of ancient Greeks and Romans, ignited in Locke a passion for knowledge and a thirst for understanding the world around him. Locke's formal education began at Westminster School in London, one of the most prestigious schools in England. Here, he excelled in his studies, demonstrating a keen intellect and an insatiable curiosity. He immersed himself in the classics, studying Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, and developing a deep appreciation for logic, rhetoric, and philosophy. After Westminster, Locke went on to study at Christ Church, Oxford, where he continued to distinguish himself as a brilliant scholar. At Oxford, he delved into the world of natural philosophy, exploring subjects like astronomy, physics, and medicine. This period of intense study broadened his horizons, exposing him to new ideas and challenging him to think critically about the world. It was during his time at Oxford that Locke first encountered the works of René Descartes, a French philosopher who would have a profound impact on his thinking. Descartes' emphasis on reason and his rejection of blind faith resonated deeply with Locke, shaping his own approach to knowledge and understanding. While Locke's formal education provided him with a solid foundation in the classics and natural philosophy, It was his insatiable curiosity and his willingness to challenge conventional wisdom that truly set him apart. He was not content to simply accept the received wisdom of his day. He sought to understand the world for himself, using reason and observation as his guides. Section 4. The Social Contract, a New Vision for Government. Imagine a world without government, a state of nature as Locke called it, a place where there are no laws, no authorities, and no organized institutions to guide or control human behavior. What would it look like? Would it be a peaceful coexistence or a chaotic struggle for survival? According to Locke, it wouldn't be as chaotic as some might think. He believed that humans are capable of reason and morality, even in the absence of formal governance. In this state, all individuals are born equal, possessing inherent rights to life, liberty, and property. These rights are not bestowed by any monarch or government. They are intrinsic to our very existence. These rights aren't granted by any ruler. They are inherent to our very being, a gift from nature itself. But there's a catch. Without a governing body, the protection and enjoyment of these rights can be highly uncertain. While we all possess these natural rights, the enjoyment of those rights can be uncertain and precarious in the state of nature. Conflicts can arise, and without a higher authority, there is no one to mediate or resolve these disputes. There's no higher authority to enforce those rights, to protect us from those who would infringe upon our freedom, our possessions, or even our lives. This lack of security can lead to a life that is, as Hobbes described, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. This is where the social contract comes in. It is an agreement among individuals to form a society and establish a government. Locke argued that people voluntarily choose to enter into a social contract, forming a government to better protect their natural rights. This government is created with the consent of the governed, and its primary role is to safeguard the rights of its citizens. This isn't about surrendering our freedom, it's about safeguarding it. By agreeing to certain rules and regulations, we ensure that our rights are protected and that we can live in a stable and secure society. We give up some individual autonomy in exchange for the security and stability that a just government can provide. This trade-off allows us to enjoy our natural rights more fully and with greater assurance. But here's the crucial point: the power of government, according to Locke, is not absolute. It is limited by the very contract that created it. It derives its legitimacy from the consent of the governed. The authority of the government is conditional upon its ability to protect the rights of its citizens. If a government fails to uphold its end of the bargain, if it becomes tyrannical and infringes upon the very rights it was created to protect, then the people have the right to alter or abolish it. This revolutionary idea laid the groundwork for modern democracy and the principle that governments should serve the people, not the other way around. Section 5. Natural Rights, the foundation of Locke's philosophy. In the heart of Locke's philosophy lies a powerful idea: natural rights. These rights are fundamental and inherent to every individual. These aren't rights granted by kings, queens, or governments. They are rights we possess simply by virtue of being human. They are universal and inalienable, meaning they cannot be taken away or given up. Locke identified three primary natural rights: the right to life, the right to liberty, and the right to property. These rights form the bedrock of his philosophical framework. The right to life is the most fundamental of all. It is the cornerstone upon which all other rights are built. It asserts that no one has the right to take another person's life under any circumstances, and each individual has the right to defend their own life against threats. This includes the right to self-defense and the protection of one's family. The right to liberty flows naturally from the right to life. It encompasses the freedom to make choices about how we live our lives. It means we have the freedom to make choices about how we live our lives, pursue our own happiness, and seek our own path, free from undue interference from others. This includes the freedom to think, believe, speak, and associate as we choose. This includes the freedom to think, believe, speak, and associate as we choose. It is the foundation of a free and open society. The right to property is intertwined with the right to liberty. Locke believed that we have a right to own property. Locke believed that we have a right to own property, not just land, but also the fruits of our labor. This right is essential for personal freedom and economic independence, not just land, but also the fruits of our labor. This right stems from our ability to mix our labor with the natural world to create something of value. This right stems from our ability to mix our labor with the natural world to create something of value. It is through this process that we transform resources into goods and services that benefit society. These natural rights, Locke argued, are not merely abstract concepts. They are the very foundation upon which a just and equitable society must be built. They are the very foundation upon which a just and equitable society must be built. They provide the moral and legal basis for the protection of individual freedoms and the establishment of a fair government. They are the guiding principles that should inform the creation of laws, the structure of government, and our interactions with one another. By recognizing and upholding these rights, we can create a society that respects and values each individual and our interactions with one another. Locke's vision of natural rights continues to influence modern political thought and remains a cornerstone of democratic societies around the world.